Chapter 6 Trapped. Long shadows fell on the friends as the mega beetles moved closer. Blaze stamped her feet. The ground shook, and Tig noticed a small hole near Blaze's feet. "Look," he said to Skyla. Blaze stamped her feet, harder this time, and more of the ground fell away beneath her. "Blaze is making a new tunnel," Tig said. "It's a way out." Tig, Skyla said, pointing. The two mega beetles were closing in on them, fast. "Everyone, stamp your feet," Tig ordered. They stamped as hard as they could, making loud, echoing sounds inside the tunnel. Suddenly, the ground gave way. The friends fell down, 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 sliding left and right, along the sides of the hidden tunnel. "Whee!" Skyla called as they slid all the way through and out of the hill, landing with a thump on the soft grass outside. Tig brushed the dirt from his feathers and looked back at the huge hole in the side of the hill. "We made it out," he hooted. A few crack beetles had followed them out of the tunnel. The beetles stepped into the daylight, hissing. Then they scurried back inside. "The crack beetles don't like sunlight," Skyla said, "just like Thor's other spies, the tiger bats." "They know we're here, though," Tig said. "They will tell Thorn we're here. We have to find the Emberstone before he sends the shadow." "Oak!" Blaze peeped. Tig and Skyla looked around. Everything was as dead on this side of the hill as it had been on the other side. A twisted old oak tree stood in the center of a gray landscape. It was covered in odd-shaped green and brown leaves that Tig had never seen before. Skyla pointed at Tig's stack. "Check the stone," she asked. Tig looked inside, hoping to see a warm glow, but their piece of the Emberstone was still cold. "Maybe we are not close enough," Skyla said. The friends hurried down the hill to the Whispering Oak. They searched in and around the tree for the stone. Blaze looked inside the nuts and on the lower branches. Skyla searched the base of the tree, collecting fallen acorns as she went, while Tig flew around the higher branches. But there was no sign of the Emberstone. "I must be missing something," Tig thought. "But what?" "The Grumblebees. The next piece of the Emberstone has to be here somewhere," Tig said. Blaze hopped around, searching beneath the rocks and the base of the tree. Skyla climbed up to search among the higher branches. Tig flew overhead, searching the highest branches. Suddenly, something caught Tig's attention. He could hear a low buzzing sound near his ear. He shook his head, but the sound continued. Tig swooped to the ground and hooted at his friends. Skyla scrambled down the tree trunk. Blaze hopped over, tilting her head to one side. Tig held his wing to his ear. "Do you hear that?" The friends listened carefully. Tig thought it might just be the breeze blowing the leaves. As the noise grew, it sounded like a whisper on the wind, becoming louder and louder. Skyla's eyes widening. "Is the tree talking?" she asked. The buzzing sound grew louder, until Tig could almost make out words. "Maybe it is," he said. "After all, it is called the Whispering Oak." Tig jumped as the tiny voice shouted right by his ear. "Go away!" The same thing must have happened to Skyla and Blaze too, because they both jumped at the same time. "Who's there?" Skyla cried, pulling back an acorn in her slingshot. Tig felt something buzz past his face to land on a branch. He flew closer to see a small bee sitting on the branch. It was waving one of its legs at him. The branch moved and he saw another bee. Tig couldn't believe he hadn't noticed it before. The tree wasn't covered in leaves after all. It was covered in bees. But these were not normal bees. They were striped dark green and brown, and they had long, sharp stingers. What are you? What are you? Tag asked. They might be Storm's spies, Skylar whispered. We are not spies, a small bee shouted. We are grumblebees. Now get away from our tree. But, Skylar protested. The grumblebees buzzed louder. One by one, they flew from the branches until the oak tree was bare. They swirled in the air like green and brown storm cloud. Peep! Blaze called out to get the grumblebees' attention. They only buzzed louder. Careful, Skylar warned. They might sting. As the bees swarmed around Tech's head, he could hear hundreds of tiny voices shouting at the same time. They were all yelling over one another, so the voices didn't make sense. I can't understand what you are saying, Tech shouted at the grumblebees. The grumblebees stopped shouting. They hovered in the air. Then, in a single voice so loud that it almost made Tech fall over, and they shouted, Go away!